home. Sometimes it can seem like a pretty big place. David Attenborough, my favorite naturalist, once said, 100 years ago, there were 1.5 billion people on Earth. Now, over 7 billion crowd our fragile planet. But even so, there are still places barely touched by humanity. This is remarkable to me because while the Earth may seem big sometimes, we humans still manage to take up an awful lot of space. And yet, somehow, there are still those wild places where humans have so rarely stepped. But now, even those places are starting to feel the footprints we leave behind. Nearly everything we do has an impact on the environment. Sometimes those things can be small. Individually, they would really not be an issue at all. A candy wrapper, carelessly discarded. Running the water while brushing your teeth. Even driving your car. But when you multiply these things by the billions of people that do them every day, well, that's a problem. And the problem is getting worse. Right now, there is an estimated 110 million tons of garbage that has found its way into our world's oceans. And most of that is plastic. A 2015 survey has shown that between 5 to 13 million metric tons of plastic are polluting our oceans every single year. We humans thought we were so smart when we invented a material that was very durable and yet also very inexpensive to produce. But that has also made it dangerous. You see, plastic doesn't just disappear when it's thrown away. It sticks around for a long time. It is estimated that some plastics can take up to 1,000 years to fully decompose. So that straw in your cup, it's going to be around a lot longer than you, even when your body has long since turned to dust. And in all that time, it is harming wildlife everywhere. In fact, just last month, a beach sperm whale in the Philippines was found with 88 pounds of plastic in its stomach. 88 pounds of plastic. But plastics are found everywhere, not just in the oceans. They sit in our landfills and choke our rivers and streams and collect in our city streets. Oh, and guess what we throw our trash away in? Plastic bags. So even if you are using disposable, biodegradable products, we put them in plastic bags and they get trapped there for a long time. A recent article in the peer-reviewed journal Science Advances outlines some pretty harrowing information. Brace yourselves. The majority of pollution is coming from microscopic synthetic fibers, usually from clothing. Plastic packaging makes up the majority of non-fiber pollution. Most of the plastic ever made since about 1950 has been thrown away. About 12% has been incinerated, which is the only sure way of completely disposing of it. Only 9% has been recycled, which is good, but it only delays the final disposal. A whopping 60% is in landfills or scattered throughout the environment. But plastic is only a small part of the problem. We are poisoning the earth in every conceivable way. Chemicals such as commercial fertilizers and pesticides leach into our water systems and soils, making their way up the food chain to poison predator and prey alike. Carbon monoxide and other harmful gases fill our skies and create a greenhouse effect, warming the entire planet and leading to global climate change. This means the melting of the polar ice caps and dramatic weather changes all around the world. Not to mention how incredibly difficult it is to breathe with all that particulate matter floating around. Gross. Sometimes I feel like I need a gas mask just to go outside. And what about non-pollution ways that we are affecting our environment? Water waste is also a very real issue. How about overhunting or overfishing or commercial development in wilderness areas? It can start to feel very overwhelming and even a little hopeless. Scientists are concerned that even if we start making serious changes right now, it may be too little, too late. But we have to try. There are things we can do on both smaller and large scales that could help make a difference. So let's take a look at some small, simple ways we can help protect Mother Earth. It may seem like the little things we do don't really matter, but if each of us works together, these little things start to add up, and we may start to see a change. So we've all heard of the 3 R's, right? Reduce, reuse, recycle. So let's take a look at those one at a time. The first R is reduce. This means try not to use so much. Take shorter showers and turn off the water while brushing your teeth. Set a timer on your sprinklers to help conserve water. Or, even better, if you can, try xeriscaping your yard or using native plants. This way you won't need as much water, and in some cases you will barely need to use any water at all. And you won't have to mow the lawn. Bonus. You can reduce your waste as well, especially with plastics. Try to steer clear of plastic packaging whenever possible. I know, this one is really hard because nearly everything is packaged in plastic. But there are ways to help reduce our own waste. Be more conscious of the things you're using and throwing away. Is it something you really need? Is it available in different packaging that is biodegradable? Or can you simply use other packaging, such as shopping in bulk aisles, bring your own packaging, and shop bulk? Easy. Another idea for reduce is thinking a bit more outside the box. Reduce the amount and possibly type of food you eat. When you eat a lot of prepackaged meals, that comes with a lot of waste. Fast food can be especially wasteful. You have the wrapper for the food, the little condiment packets, plastic utensils, and a bag to put everything in. I was even at one fast food restaurant where the plastic utensils were individually wrapped in more plastic. We don't need that. When possible, bring your own meal with you to work or school. But if you do find yourself eating out a lot, I get it, I work. Try bringing in reusable containers that they can package your food in. If you ask, super nice, most places will actually oblige you. You can even put together a utensil kit. Keep metal utensils in a little bag that you can bring with you when you eat out so you don't have to use the plastic ones. And then you just simply take them home and wash them. Cool. We can also reduce food consumption like meat. Now, I'm not saying we all need to become vegetarian or vegan, but we are consuming huge amounts of meats, including beef, pork, chicken, and fish. Which means more of those animals are being raised or fished from the oceans, and it is having enormous environmental impacts. The cattle industry is of particular concern. Much of the cattle is being allowed to graze on public lands for super cheap or even free. And the cattle are completely decimating wilderness areas right now. And we know that a lot of animals don't often lead the best lifestyle before being butchered and consumed. I'm not going to go into animal cruelty here, but if you want to look that up, I encourage you to do so. You won't look at meat the same way again. So, be careful what and how much you eat. The second R is reuse. This one ties in really well with reduce. You can reduce waste simply by reusing products over and over, giving them a new life. You can use cloth bags. I happen to have brought some. These are little cute cloth bags. They're really simple to make, and you can make them in various sizes. So these are my small size. I also have larger sizes, but they're being used right now, so I couldn't bring them. You can take these with you to the grocery store and use them to put your produce in instead of the plastic bags that are everywhere. You put your produce in the plastic bags or your bread in the plastic bags. Bring reusable ones. Really, really handy. Speaking of the grocery store, use reusable shopping bags instead of the plastic bags that they have. So when you package up all your groceries at the end, usually everything gets put into plastic bags. Well, instead of those, bring the reusable bags. Those plastic bags are a major source of our plastic waste problem. The less of them we use, the better. Ooh, how about reusable straws? If you are able, using reusable straws, like this, is a really fantastic idea. Millions of plastic straws are thrown away every single day. They are one of the biggest sources of plastic in our landfills, and they are really harming the environment. A lot of animals chew on them, they swallow them, they get stuck in their throats, they kill our wildlife everywhere. So by using reusable straws, we can greatly reduce the amount of waste and protect the environment. So I actually brought with me an entire collection of straws, and I would like everybody to have one. So there's about 50 straws in here. So before you leave today, be sure to get your very own reusable straw. You can take these with you when you go to eat out, or whenever you happen to use straws. Just use these, and then you can reuse them. Just rinse them out, stick them in the dishwasher. Easy peasy. Less waste. They're amazing. So we'll put those out for everybody to have. The table's not big. There are a lot of things you can reuse. Plastic butter tubs can be reused in place of other Tupperware to hold any number of items or food. Use cloth towels instead of paper towels whenever possible. There are even washable, reusable feminine hygiene products. Another brilliant idea, learn to repair damaged items instead of simply tossing them in the trash and getting a new one. My dad was amazing at this. I swear he could repair practically anything. And what he couldn't repair on his own, he would take to a repair shop. And we could usually repair something like a vacuum for cheaper than a new one. And my mom was really good at sewing, so she could patch up almost anything, any article of clothing. And when she couldn't patch it up, she often reused the items in other creative ways. So turning old t-shirts and socks into rags, turning old jeans into doggy chew toys, and any number of clothes became pieces of that she could use in quilts or other sewing projects. And finally, one of my all-time favorite ways to reduce waste is to stop using plastic water bottles. Britta already mentioned that. I feel like I have to shout this one. Literally, I have it in all caps right here. Not only do the plastic bottles take up huge amounts of space in the landfills, but many people throw away the bottles with the water still inside. So, only about 2% of the water on the planet is actually drinkable, and we are trapping it inside water bottles. So now we have plastic waste and water waste. So use reusable water bottles instead. If you really like fresh-ish water, get a filter for your tap or use a pitcher with a built-in water filter if you're worried about the water coming out of your tap. And yes, I understand that some people live in areas where they must use bottled water due to the massive pollutants and other issues in their local water. But those are the exceptions. We shouldn't be adding to the problem if we can help it. You can also use reusable coffee mugs. Most coffee shops actually sell reusable mugs that you can use in their establishments. Voila! No more wasted coffee cups. Cool. Oh, and while we're on the subject of coffee, those little single-use Keurig coffee pods, wow, the amount of waste that those are creating. The good news is that you can use reusable coffee pods that you can fill with your favorite ground coffee, and in my opinion, the coffee actually tastes better that way anyways. The final R is recycle. this should be your last resort. The purpose of recycling is to be able to make new products from old ones, and thus we won't have to create more plastics, more metals, more glass, and so forth. It doesn't really get rid of what is already there, but if we can greatly reduce the amount of new plastics, metals, glass, paper, and other things, all the better for the environment and us. Recycling can feel a bit tricky. How do you know what you can recycle and what can't be recycled and where to recycle it? If your city has a recycling program, it's a great idea to check and see what can be recycled in your area. Some cities only recycle paper and metal, while others allow some plastics and glass as well. And you don't even have to sort it. You just put it all in a big bin, and they take it for you, and easy, cool. If you don't have curbside recycling available, there are many places that have huge recycling bins that you can drop things off at. Many public schools and libraries have bins for paper, and I've even seen a few for plastics and metals, and I think I saw one for glass a while ago too. You may have to call your city works department to find out where they have recycling bins in your area. Oh, and did you know that you can recycle electronics as well? You can bring in your old computers, cords, phones, and other gadgets to Best Buy, and they will recycle them for you. The parts are broken down, melted, and made into new products. Neat. I do want to mention a couple of fun recycling ideas that I am hoping to implement here at UUCO very soon. I've already spoken with our RE director, Starley Jasperera, and she is fully on board with this. The first is dead marker recycling. Crayola has a program where we can collect a whole bunch of dead markers. You know, those kids use up their markers and now they're dead. What do you do with them? You toss them in the trash. But Crayola says bring in any marker, any brand, collect them all, and send them into Crayola. They will melt them down and reuse them and make them into new markers. The second one is really similar, but this one is with crayons. You can bring in any crayon, we sort them out into their different colors, and we send them into this program. They melt down all the wax, and they create brand new special crayons. They're of a special design, and these are sent off to hospitals to be used by sick children or special needs children. So that's an amazing program. I really love both of these ideas. And when we start them, there will be boxes available to toss in all your old markers and crayons. So be checking your homes and see if you have these items that you might want to bring in. My hope is that this might be something that we can do every year so that we can keep it going and keep our environment a little bit cleaner. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for more information about these programs coming very, very soon. There are bigger things we can do to help as well. Talk to your local leaders. Send them phone calls, letters, and emails advocating for change. Hey, we're UUs. It's what we excel at, right? Mm-hmm. But we need to see some big changes in how our environmental issues are handled. Push for change in public land grazing. Push for change in waste management. Voice concerns about how things are packaged and used. As long as there are no major legal changes, people will do what they always do, and we won't see the differences we really need to. If we can rethink how we are processing and using our food and products, it will make it all the easier for us to be more conservative in our homes. I do want to give one example of how changing the laws has helped make a big difference in the environment. I was watching Blue Planet 2. I really can't say enough good things about this documentary. Go watch it. Yep. Blue Planet 2. And they talked about oceanic fishing in Norway. About 50 years ago, fishing off the coast of Norway So in Norway, massive schools of herring would come in, and they were greatly overfished. So the fisheries were heavily exploited, and they nearly lost all of their fish. Orcas, or killer whales, were seen as rivals, and hundreds were killed just so the humans could have more of the fish for themselves. But the Norwegian government stepped in and made some huge changes. They completely changed how and when the fisheries could be used. And in 1982, the orcas became protected under Norwegian law. Today, Norway has one of the largest populations of orcas anywhere in the world, with thousands of them migrating in every single year. And the fish? The herring that had almost disappeared have made a huge comeback. They are now migrating in by the billions. So we can see that by managing the fish long-term and in sustainable ways. There are now plenty of fish for both whales and humans alike, and even other sea creatures as well. So from this, we know that changes can make a difference. I can't possibly list all the ways we can be less wasteful and create a better environment. While doing research for this talk, I came across at least 100 ways we can make a difference. It was truly astounding, and there really is so much we can do. Not all of it is simple or easy, and a lot of it actually takes a lot of effort on our part. But is it worth it to give up a little of our comfort in order to save our planet? Is it worth it to do a little more work now in order for our children and grandchildren to live in a cleaner world? Is it worth it to put in a little extra effort so we can breathe easier, get sick less, and end up with a more beautiful and enriched planet? Personally, I think so. I would like to encourage everyone here to really think about the impact that you are having on the environment. Think about those things that you can change on a personal level. Start today, because tomorrow might be too late.
We sing the heart courageous, the youthful eager mind. We sing of hopes undaunted, of friendly ways and kind. We sing of